Hello there everybody. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Keedy. I'm a farmer in Kemet, the Black Land, which you call Egypt. This is my donkey, named Donkey. It is around the year 2500 BC in the Old Kingdom. The Great Pyramids are going up, not too far from here. I'm at the bottom of our social pyramid, just a peasant who works in the fields for the pharaoh and for my village, and for my own self-respect. Today I'm going to show you what my day in the life looks like. I wake up at the first crack of the light. Our house is small and nothing fancy, mostly made out of mud brick. It's just my family. My wife, our child, sleeping here on this floor. It's not much, but we make it do. We're good people with good hearts. And the gods have blessed us with love and happiness. So we are thankful for that. For breakfast, we eat bread and have onions, maybe a few lentils. We drink beer. Yes, we drink beer. It might sound crazy to you modern fools, but it's thick, filling, and safer than the plain water from the canal. The meat is rare. We save that for the festivals. And once the sun comes up, it's time to hit the fields. Our whole life depends on the Nile. When the Nile floods, it brings rich black silt. When it doesn't, we starve. The first thing I do every morning is check the water, check the canals, check the soil for that rich black silt that we need to have boisterous crops. If the flood has gone down, we plow and eat barley, emmer wheat, beans, and flax. This is not what we're looking for. But if the crops are growing, we weed and water them, sometimes using a shadoof, which is essentially a pole and bucket, to lift water from the canal to the field. This is our way to irrigate the fields and keep water moving around so we have good soil and nothing dries out. Fields look good today. It's been a good month. The gods have blessed us. By midday, the sun is high and the heat is heavy. We take a break after a long day of work. As part of my break, I have some more beer. Eat some more bread. Keeps me fueled throughout the day. The work never really stops. I'm back to work quickly, and that's until the sun goes down. In some seasons, I'm called for corvée labor, to work for the pharaoh. This can mean repairing canals or even helping at a royal building project, like a pyramid or a temple. I'm not a slave, but when the king calls, I can't say no. The payment is rations, it's food for my family. This is beer, bread, oil, and maybe a little bit of cloth. There are also scribes who come and keep track and count and write down what we harvest. They measure our grain and write on papyrus how much we owe in taxes. I can't read a single sign, but I know that if I argue with the man who can, then it's not going to be good for me. I'm going to lose. Sometimes when I'm sweating out in the fields, I look up and see those huge stone mountains they're building for the pharaoh. I don't know how I feel about that, but I remind myself, if the gods are happy, and the Nile floods right, and the family eats, that's all that really matters. That's all I need to be focused on. That's all I need to be worried about to ensure that I'm doing my job the best I can. Every day, when the light starts to fade, we head back home. My wife has usually been baking bread, brewing beer, and weaving linen while we were out in the fields. So when we come home, the house smells like smoke and grain. We eat yet another simple meal: bread, beans, onions, and maybe if we got some fish, if we got a good catch, or if there's a festival going on, then we'll have meats or fish. Over the meal, we'll talk about the Nile flood, what's going on, how the day was, how the next day might be. We'll talk about the taxes we owe, and what the scribes are saying and how we feel about that. And we'll talk about whether the kids will be strong enough to work in the fields after us, how the next generation is looking. We also thank the gods, especially the ones tied to the river and tied to the harvest. If the flood fails or disease comes, we might say the gods are angry. You never know. It's a scary thought when your cupboards are almost empty, and it's hard to rationalize why that might be happening. When it's dark, we don't stay up very long. The oil lamp costs money, and we are tired. We have another big day of work tomorrow. We sleep, hoping that tomorrow the water is bountiful, the crops will grow, and nobody important is going to be inflicted with bad health or bad thoughts. So that's my life. Caddy and donkey, farmer and donkey, respectively, of the Nile. We're not rich, we're not powerful, but without us, the fancy tombs and temples will be empty of bread, beer, and offerings. Thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you enjoyed your glimpse into 2500 BCE. Well, hello. My name is Dito. I'm a scribe in the Old Kingdom, around 2500 BCE of ancient Egypt. In our time period, only about 1 to 5% of people can read and write. So that means that people like me, who are able to, are given with a lot of trust and power and faith among the people. So even though we might not have crowns on our head and be sitting in the big plush thrones, we have plenty of power throughout the kingdom, and a lot rides on us scribes doing our job correctly. So I'm going to take you through and show you what it's like to do that properly. Well, I spend the beginnings of my day in my office. I have my papyrus rolls, I have my reed pens, and I have my ink over here. In order to get here, I went to scribal school as a boy, which is where we learned what the different signs mean. We learned how to read and write them, and we learned the names of different gods so that we could come into this job and do a great job for the pharaoh. After I've done some work in the morning, I'll walk over and get my bread and my beer for my morning breakfast. Sometimes I'll get a little bit better rations, like figs or things with more grain, because my work is considered skilled to the kingdom, and that is rewarded with better food. So after breakfast is when the real work begins. I have farmers and overseers coming in with their accounts, and I need to record how much grain the fields produced, how many workers are on a project, and how much we're sending to the temples, how much we're sending to the palace, and how much we're sending to the workers' village. It's very important everything gets written down. If it doesn't get written down, it may as well not exist or not be real. By midday, the office is hot and my head is full of numbers. A tax official is going to be coming by a little bit later, and we're going to look over the records. We're going to list out the names of everybody and the amounts of everything that they have. This writing is meant to be spoken, not just looked at. Scribes are essentially the voice of the state. And sometimes a noble or an overseer of works calls me to the construction site. Yes, hello?
I'm the tax official.
Oh yes, you're here for Babu, right?
Give me the record.
And he needs the echoes? That's the grain yield on the day. Here you go, official. But sometimes a noble or overseer of works calls me to a construction site of a temple or a pyramid. I'll stand at the construction site with my pallet while the noble/overseer will yell at the workers to make them get more things done. And while he does that, I will keep track of how many blocks have been delivered, how many jars of beer have been distributed to the workers, and which foreman is responsible for all of it. If anything goes missing or if anything isn't right, my records will be checked first, and I will be held responsible for all of that. So it's very important that I do a good job at my job. People think that just because I'm a nerdy scribe, I never sweat on it. But that's not true at all. If I misplace a decimal or misadd some numbers, then it can throw a whole lot off. I may not haul stones, but if someone's grain gets messed up, then it's my head that's on the line. When work is all done, I leave my office and I go back to my mud brick home. It's smaller than a noble's, but bigger than a peasant's. It's a nice, humble abode. I spend a lot of time indoors for my job, and that enough alone is a luxury in itself. Though unfortunately dinner only consisted of bread, beer, and vegetables. There's not a festival for a little while, so there was no meat around. However, I was able to teach my son some of my scribe knowledge, so hopefully he can follow in my footsteps and have a good life for himself. At night, sometimes I'll go down and help the priests write down their offerings or keep track of temple accounts. Scribes and priests are very close. We share a secret knowledge of signs and rituals. We write down hymns, prayers, and magical texts that are meant to last for eternity on stone and papyrus. So what is the essence of my life? I may not swing a hoe or carry stones, but I move things with ink. I keep track of grain, workers, taxes, and even the memory and the words of the dead. A line on papyrus in these days can make a man rich or ruin him. It can send more bread to a worker's village or take it away. All it takes is one simple mistake to mess something up that is big. So it's important to trust the smart people with the big jobs. So that's the day in the life of a scribe in the old kingdom of Egypt. My hands are soft, my back is okay, but my mistakes echo all the way up to the Pharaoh. So thank you for watching. I appreciate the viewership. And if there's one thing you take away from this, it should be to write everything down. It could make you or break you one day. Hello all, my name is Menka. I am a priest of Ra, the sun god, in the old kingdom of Egypt, around 2500 BCE. Our temple stands not far from the Pharaoh's place in the great stone pyramids. Allow me to show you a day in my life as the temple priest. Before I do anything in the day, I must ensure that my soul and body is pure. This means I bathe in the sacred lake, which I've already done, put on fresh linen garments, and I avoid certain foods and pleasures during my service to stay ritually clean. While the town is just waking up, I enter the temple's innermost rooms. The air is cool and smells of incense. The god's statue rests in a shrine. Each morning, we perform a carefully ordered ritual. So a part of our rituals is first we will greet the statue of God with hymns and perfumes and jewelry and fresh clothes for the day. First part of this. Now that we've awoken the god with song and spirit, it's important that the god has good scent, or else they will not be very happy. Next up, we make a donation of jewelry. Sure. Now, a minute. And I appreciate the sacrifice of clothing as well. It's important to let them know that you would do for them the same that they did for you. And that wraps up our morning rituals. When Ra has been properly honored and worshipped, then the sun will rise, the Nile will flow, and Ma'at, which is the cosmic order of everything, falls into place, and the day officially begins. Compared to peasants, I live a very lavish life. I have a stable income, a nice home, and very much respect. But that comes with a lot of responsibility. If disease were to fall, if the Nile were to flood, or if the Pharaoh loses a battle, people all come to me, say, what's wrong with the gods? It's up to me to balance this city's fate and make sure all of its citizens are kept in the highest of condition. It is midday in the temple, and the god expects that there will be multiple different givings. There are plenty of people outside coming with offerings. We have offerings of bread, we have offerings of beer, we have offerings of flour, we have offerings of different sorts of candles. So at midday, it is commonplace to where we will present the god with this bread. Present the god with this mead, and present the god with his candles, as we recite old prayers and hymns to please him and allow him to continue giving us beautiful days. I will now recite one hymn. So after the offerings are given to God, the food is redistributed, the beer is redistributed, and the candles will keep here burning. So then it's for the rest of my day. After the God has been pleased, it is then up to me to make sure that the church is in good harvest, that our taxes are on top of, and our property is well managed. Being a priest is not just spiritual. It's also about managing the wealth and estate of the church. From the outside, people might think we spend all day praying. In reality, we spend a lot of time making sure the temple can afford to keep the lamps burning and keep the God statue well fed. So as the sun lowers and the main rituals end and the evening comes along, sometimes I will help to teach the boys from respectable families to read sacred text. Scribes and priests are very much tied together. We both work with the word of the gods, and we are two educated people within the state. On festival days, however, things are a little bit different. We will carry the god statue out of the temple in a shrine and walk through the streets so the people can appreciate the god. People will cheer, sing, play music, and bring joy to the farmers and the workers who spend the most of their days in hard labor. For a little while, everyone feels a lot closer to the gods, and it's very meaningful. And when I finally return to my quarters, I eat a simple meal of bread, beer, and vegetables. If it was one of the aforementioned festivals, then there will be meat present. But then it's pretty simple after that. So that's my job. That's my day as a priest. In the mornings, it starts with self-purification and waking to God. The midday is usually filled with offerings and making sure that the temple itself is well kept with the money. And then in the evening, it's teaching or festivals or silent prayer, quiet prayer, whatever is called for in that time. We stand between humans and gods. between the fields and the sky, trying every day to keep ma'at, or order, from slipping into chaos. Thank you very much for visiting the temple today.